Season 3, Episode 5. We're going to do a draft preview, Joe. You ready for this?
Good. Yeah, I think so.
All right, now keep in mind this is a fantasy football channel. So we'll do our best. We're not going to do a true mock, per se, because I'm not a scout. I'm not a talent analyst. I just know what I've been told.
Okay.
I will say before we get started here, there's a lot of talk about quarterbacks going with the number 1, number 2, number 3, and possibly even number 4. If Arizona moves out and another team wants to move up, like Minnesota or something, to grab JJ McCarthy. I think a lot of that is smoke and mirrors. I mean, we hear this every single year, and then we see quarterbacks like Geno Smith, Will Levis fall to the second round. There's a lot of misinformation out there right now. I kind of live in, I'll believe it when I see it. But having said that, I thought for the longest time that the Bears were going to trade the number 1, and Justin Fields was still going to be our quarterback. And I even filmed 4 or 5 episodes where we talked about that. Just for after we filmed the last episode, within minutes, the news broke that Justin Fields got traded. So I'm not an analyst. I don't know how to. I don't really watch all the college games because there's so much out there content-wise. I just don't have that kind of time. I'm not a scout. And I'm just going to go by what I hear, but having said all that, half of the stuff we hear, I think we just need to realize it's misdirection. We get that every year before the draft. But let's go ahead and get started. Number 1, the Bears have the pick. All right, Joe. So if you're in the Bears' situation right here, Justin Fields is off the roster. Who are you going with?
Well, I can't trade it now, so going with Caleb. I mean,
Gotta be Caleb.
I mean, that's who they're going to go with.
Right.
I don't have an opinion otherwise. I mean, that's
pretty much set.
that's what they're going to do. It's set in stone. They've already,
Yep. All right, number 2, Washington Commanders. Now, there's been a lot of talk that they're going to go for Jaden Daniels, but they really burned some bridges with him. I don't know if I heard the reports, but yeah. So apparently they bring the quarterbacks in. He was hoping for a one-on-one with them, do the interviews, do the meal, that's not how it worked. They brought him in with a group of other quarterbacks and worked them all out and did it all at once. So, do you think the Commanders are still going to go that direction? I mean, obviously, when he gets that first check, that's going to make up for a lot of hard feelings.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jaden Daniels statistically is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen. If you look at his stats in college, I didn't watch him play much, but man, he looks the part.
He does.
He sure looks the part, and he can run. Now he takes big hits, but he ran for over 1,000 yards.
So I guess my question for you, and this is where, again, I don't watch the college game like I should, all right? But a lot of people are talking that he does not have the frame to handle that kind of abuse in the NFL. It worked out well when he was in college. Obviously, he won the Heisman, right? But a lot of folks are saying that, if he tries playing that style, it's going to be very much like what happened last year to Anthony Richardson. He's going to play. It's going to be dangerous. And if that's the case, he's not going to make it very many games in. Now, he's 6'4".
Yes.
But he's only 210 pounds.
Yeah, I don't think he should play the way
Right.
Richardson played. I don't think Richardson should have played that way either.
Agreed. But I guess my thought is if a dude is 6'4" and has been able to pass the way that Jaden's been able to pass. Now, you can go in there and say, well, he ran for 1,000 yards. But, I mean, the dude passed for 3,800 yards, 40 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions in the SEC.
Very impressive. I mean, statistically, it's one of the best years ever.
Right.
How many yards did he rush for?
I don't have his rushing yards on.
So it's well over. I want to say it's like 1,300 maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I would absolutely believe you. But I guess my thought is 6'4", he's only 210 pounds, but is there any reason to believe that he can't put more weight on?
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, that's not even a...
1,134 with 10 additional touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. And
50 total touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, and... I mean,
the dude can run.
Right at 5,000 total yards.
Right?
In the SEC.
Very impressive. You haven't seen that many times ever.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, I know.
And with that accuracy, only 4. I mean, that's great decision making. I don't care if it's dink and dunk. 40 and 4 is great decision making.
Well, and I'm not trying to knock the Pac, but it's not like he's playing in the Pac-12. Like, these are legit defenses that he's playing against. That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess I didn't realize that that he did. Now I know he had Malik Neighbors and he had Brian Thompson, right? These two stud wide receivers. Both guys went for over 1,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But those are still SEC caliber secondaries that he's passing against, and SEC edge rushers
Exactly.
coming at you.
Those guys are all going to be in the NFL too.
Right. So I mean, I guess I didn't realize.
It was very, very impressive.
Yeah. Wow, that's some crazy. Okay, so let's get to the first roll. So I do think the Bears and the Commanders are going to go quarterback. I do believe it's going to be Caleb Williams. I think the Bears are going to go with Caleb. I do think the Commanders are going to go with Jaden Daniels. But let's get to. Let's play GM. All right,
Okay.
you're the new. I don't want to say new GM, but you are finally given the reins for the Patriots. They are more than a quarterback away from being relevant. Now, my concern is you draft a quarterback and you put them in that situation, no matter who it is, they're going to fail. Are they going to be able to recover from that? I mean, we've seen quarterbacks, Sam Darnold, we've talked about him, came in with a ton of talent but went into a really bad situation. Do we think that the Patriots are going to stay here and draft a quarterback, or do you think that this might be the perfect opportunity for them to trade back, acquire picks, build a roster so that when they do grab a quarterback, we know that there's teams that want to move up for a quarterback.
Yep.
What do you think happens here? Because I think this is the real first time that we have a question of what could happen in the draft.
Well, I think May, and don't forget, Marvin Harrison Jr. are there.
Mm-hmm.
And there are teams that are willing to give up a lot for those guys.
Okay.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is a once in a generation. I mean, he's a generational talent.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, he's been raised in that. He knows how to act in that environment. And on top of that, he's built like Julio Jones.
Yeah.
So there are going to be teams that are going to be willing to give a lot up for him.
Okay.
So, but he might not be what's best for New England.
Right.
So, yeah, maybe you trade back.
It's just hard to say what they're going to do because they're not a wide receiver away. They're not a quarterback away.
Exactly. So if you can get multiple draft picks for him.
When you look at this,
by the way, there are teams that would be willing to give multiple. If I'm the Chiefs,
yeah.
I'd be willing to give multiple draft picks up for Marvin Harrison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there are certain teams where I'd be like, give me that guy.
And it's
because they're here now, ready to go.
Yeah. It's going to take a lot of picks if it's a team like Kansas City because they're picking so far back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
they're never going to get.
And they're never going to. Yeah. As long as Patrick Mahomes is there, they're never going to have a top 15 pick unless something really crazy happens, an injury to him or just a ton of injuries.
You don't need many first round picks though, if you get a guy like Harrison with
That's
Mahomes.
true. That's true.
You know, they haven't had a good receiver now for a while. I mean, a number one, a bona fide number one, since Tyreek.
That's true.
Right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, Rashee Rice was supposed to be that guy, and
yeah, he was good.
Now
He was
that's up in the air, right? I can see the Patriots trading out of this. I think they should probably trade out of it, and the reason I say that is because they need so many pieces that even grabbing a guy like Marvin Harrison or a quarterback like Drake May right here isn't going to do much. Now, having said that, I will confess, I didn't think that Houston was going to have that much of a chance last year. But Houston already had guys like Nico Collins. They'd already traded for a guy like Dalton Schultz.
Yeah.
They already had a really good offensive line.
Yeah. Yes.
New England doesn't have any of that. I mean, they
and I don't know what is Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, Mayo's the head coach there.
The guy's probably going to go defense. He's probably going to go back. He's probably going to trade back, right?
Well,
he's probably defense.
Yeah, and the reality is they need help on both sides of the ball. It's not just an offensive efficiency. They have a defense that now Matthew Judon is back, and that helps.
Yep.
But they need so many pieces. I kind of put them in Arizona kind of hand in hand there. That, you know, you can take a guy, but it's probably not going to be enough.
See, I wouldn't give up on. You're talking about Arizona giving up on Kellen?
No, Kyler? No,
Kyler,
I'm not talking about that.
I wouldn't give up on Kyler.
That defense is a mess. who's going to play wide receiver for them? I mean,
You're right.
you know, and this is one of those deep draft classes. You can get a guy like Marvin Harrison, or you can trade back and get an edge and another wide receiver.
You're right.
Probably would have been talked about higher if the top three, you know, Marvin Harrison, Roma Dunze, and Malik Nabers, if they weren't such studs,
Absolutely.
these other guys would be talked about a whole lot more, right? So I think the Patriots are going to trade back. The question is can we identify the teams that might want to trade up? I think Minnesota is obviously the one that's ringing the bell.
Yeah.
Because they
I could see May going to Minnesota.
Yeah, but if Minnesota
Or
moves
McCarthy.
up that far, it's probably going to be for McCarthy.
Why McCarthy instead of May?
That's just the talk. Now, for me personally, I would not do that.
You know,
because the production in college hasn't been there. Now, J.J. McCarthy hasn't had to be.
yeah, I mean,
But there were games where he didn't even attempt 10 passes.
he won a national championship. He did what he did what he had to do.
He was done. He did what he was told to do. And here's the thing, that's not a J.J. McCarthy issue. When your team is winning 30-0 in the first quarter, you're probably not going to pass the ball much.
I have seen McCarthy play in person too.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, the kid's a great athlete.
Okay.
Now May is also a great athlete. I don't know if you know about his family.
I don't know about Drake.
They're they were all D1 athletes.
Okay.
There's like a half a dozen of them. Like
Okay.
father, mother, brothers, like they're all like D1 studs.
As a
Kind of
big-
like the McCaffreys.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Where you just can't go wrong. The genes are in their favor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could see Minnesota trading up. Now there's kind of a dark horse here, and everybody's like it's going to be Denver, Vegas, or it's going to be.
Oh, Vegas. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean they got Minshew, but he's not the long-term answer.
Aiden O'Connell.
They got Aiden O'Connell.
You know that Minshew's the backup.
He won't be.
I know.
He won't
Because
be.
Minshew wins everything he competes in.
The guy-
I said that at Richardson too. I said
Yeah.
Minshew will be. Watch Minshew will be the one.
And
who
you
plays.
did call it on a video last year. Go out and check out those videos. You
It
did
took
call it.
Richardson to get her, but Minshew was a Pro Bowler.
There are a couple of dark horse teams that I don't think people are talking about enough, and that's number one is the Giants. They've got Daniel Jones. This is the last year that he's guaranteed that big money.
You think they're going to cut him loose to that 160 million? Or
This is the
140?
last year where it's guaranteed. Next year it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're
Interesting.
going to keep him this year, but this could be the perfect opportunity for them to draft a quarterback.
Yep.
Let that quarterback sit for a year and develop, because Daniel Jones he's going to get paid this year. He's gone next year. This is supposed to be a really good quarterback class next year. You got guys like Quinn Ewers who I really like. That's going to come out. You got a few guys. The names aren't there. This was the draft that everybody was circling for like the last 2 years for the quarterbacks. That's why the Bears were fine. If they weren't sold on Fields last year, that's why they were fine trading out.
Hey, I'm seeing a lot of teams. Let's go down these teams.
Yeah. So let's look at the teams here. So yeah, you have the Giants.
I don't think the Titans are gonna do it. I don't
No, because they got Levis. They're going to see.
I
what they got
think they're
done.
gonna see what they have.
Yep.
Falcons won't.
No, they got 4
Bears
years.
won't.
so.
Jets won't because,
See,
well,
I think they might.
boy, it's a good way to get Aaron Rodgers to retire all of a sudden.
I think they might.
That's a
I think
great
they
way
might.
to get Aaron Rodgers to retire.
Maybe not in
Aaron
the first
Rodgers
round.
will retire,
But
he will retire on the spot right there.
I don't know. I
And
could see it.
Salah will be like, oh, okay, I'm done. I'm fired now.
Yeah, he's done. He's done.
He will legit be He will retire. I bet you he will retire right there on the spot.
Possibly.
Remember how upset he was when
I-
Jordan left?
I get it.
When they were one play away?
I get it. But how many years does he have left?
Oh, I'm with you.
Right. At some point,
If you want to win, you got to win today. That's what he's going to
well,
say.
they are in a win now mode.
And Saleh's Salah.
Well, and the GM. They
They're
know
like-
if it
they're
doesn't
like,
work
you're
this
fired.
year. Yeah.
Even though they weren't
Well,
given a fair opportunity.
The GM will be gone too. If they don't
Yeah.
win this year.
So,
Yeah.
you're going to draft a quarterback? then?
Maybe. I think they need it. Minnesota, yes.
They have a. Who's. They picked up a good little. No, they didn't. I don't know who is it. Oh, yeah, the Tyrod Taylor is a backup. So you're going to make him a third round pick? You're going to get a third?
I'm not.
Get out of here.
Joe.
I'm over.
I'm not saying it's going to be in the first round.
I'm over. Okay. Well,
Not
then that
saying it's
doesn't
gonna
count.
be the
But,
first
okay,
round.
so
We're
we're talking about trading up.
Oh, I was just talking about teams that could go. for a
No,
quarterback.
I'm just talking about trading up.
So Minnesota, obviously, yes.
Yes.
I could see Denver doing it.
Denver.
I could see. I don't know if I was the Raiders. I think O'Connell played well enough that I would want to see what I have.
Oh, I would give them both a chance. I think you're good at that. But I could see 100%. I could see the Saints because they. Did you see David Carr last year get in a fight with?
Oh yeah,
with
on
the
side-
coach,
yeah, on the
like
sideline.
yelling verbally, like
Yeah.
on this, like that's not David Carr.
Colts, no.
Seattle,
Yes.
I could 100% see that.
So there's been some smoke around that one already.
Who's the new coach though in Seattle? Who?
Oh gosh, I can't remember. But here's the thing: I would not be surprised if Seattle took a quarterback in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. But the reason I don't think Seattle would trade up for the quarterback is I think if they're going to draft a quarterback, they already know who they want. There just happens to be this kid by the name of Penix that's a legend in Seattle already.
He ain't gonna last to 16. That's
might.
the whole reason why they're gonna move up.
He might, but I can see it. And if these GMs are convicted that they know who their guy is, they're going to do what they have to do to get him.
That's all the more reason why he's gonna move up.
I can see
Because
it.
Penix is, even though has so many injuries over his career, but I would not be surprised if they move up. I'm sticking with. Jags aren't moving up. Bengals aren't. LA, Pittsburgh's not. Miami's not going to. I don't see any of the.
Dallas. Let's talk about
You
the
think Jones would?
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. So the team,
Interesting.
to me, that I think could be the biggest surprise is Dallas.
Because he wants to make,
He wants, and I know everybody's like Jerry Jones is old. He's in win now mode. They can't afford to pay Dak Prescott $65 million a year next year.
I agree.
They can't. They would have no other team around him.
I agree.
So,
Look who their running back is now. Rico.
who?
Rico. Exactly.
Rico Dowdle.
Rico,
I know who Rico
Uncle-
is.
Uncle Rico.
Uncle Rico Dowdle. But the point is at some point Dallas is going to get off that contract. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know the dead cap.
It's not going to be good for.
ramifications.
It's not going to be good for Dak though.
No, because
However, it's going to happen. It's not going to be good for
yeah,
Dak.
it's going to be messy. I could see them doing it. Green Bay obviously no.
I
Tampa
don't see any of
Bay.
these others.
I could see Tampa Bay drafting a quarterback, just not trading up for one right now. We got to remember Gardner Minshew's 3-year Baker Mayfield. His contract is 3-year $150 million, but only $50 million is guaranteed.
Yeah.
So you can say 3-year $150 million, but at NFL talk that doesn't mean crap. What's the guaranteed money? Guaranteed's only 50.
I don't think you're going to get much because he's all the way at the 26th,
Right.
and they were close to winning. I mean, look how far they're all the way back.
Yeah.
That's why I would say that was the last.
Right.
I mean, they could trade up. It depends on who falls.
See, I would honestly. Now, again, I'm not trying to knock
Yeah.
Baker. It just comes natural for him.
It does come natural.
But if Kyle Trask was not good enough to beat Baker Mayfield out when he was the guy they drafted Trask. They want him to succeed. And he wasn't good enough to beat up Baker last year when Baker came in with very few guarantees. That tells me he's not good enough.
Yeah.
So at some point, they're going to look at that, and they are going to draft a quarterback. I just don't think they're going to trade up to do it. So I can see a lot
to
of
be
teams.
fair, Trask has never played.
That's true, but even in camp, it was
Yeah.
really erratic. If you can't complete a pass in camp, you're not going to complete it. in
Baker
NFL game.
Mayfield was number 1 pick in the NFL draft.
I'm talking about Trask here, though.
Yeah.
If you can't complete a pass in practice, you're not going to make it in the NFL.
And he looked bad in the.
It's pretty rough.
Okay.
Pretty rough. So if you're just looking at the teams that could possibly trade up
A lot.
for a quarterback, I got the Giants.
Okay.
The Daniel Jones experiment is over. This is the last year where his big
Okay.
guaranteed money is. So I would not be surprised.
And they're in a position to move up because they're only number 6. So.
Yeah.
Or it comes to them.
Or
But-
it just naturally falls to him. Minnesota, obviously. Denver, yes. I don't think the Raiders because
No.
everybody's talking about.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I just
I'm with you. They have a
O'Connell
lot
played
of.
really well last year.
Yeah, they have a lot of other needs too.
Mhm.
But I think the Saints.
The Saints, yeah, if they're not sold on Carr, and I don't know what his contract situation is. In Seattle, for me, those are the ones.
I think
Those are the
Seattle.
ones.
I think Seattle.
Well, that's what I said, in Seattle.
Oh, I'm
Those
sorry.
are the
In
ones.
Seattle. Okay.
Yeah, in Seattle.
Um,
And you got to remember too, this is a new
yeah,
head
that's
coach.
who I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so with this being a new head coach in Seattle, he's going to want his quarterback. And Gino's not guaranteed a lot of money,
No.
and it's a very good feel good story.
Yeah.
Okay,
But it's a new coach, like you said. And do we know who?
I can look it up. Yeah, but while we're doing that, going back to the Patriots, to me, it would make the most sense for them to trade back with Minnesota, who is the most quarterback-hungry team, who has 2 first-round picks already this year that they could package to move up. So, from what I've been told, there's a compensation scale. Like, the first overall pick is worth this many points, and then it goes down from there.
Yeah, it's generic, but it's
But everybody uses it.
yeah,
So,
it's a generic thing, but yeah.
from my understanding, the compensation to move all the way up to the top 3 from number 11 would cost them both of their first round picks this year, which is what, number 11, number 23? Something along those lines, 11 and 23.
11 and 23.
And then their second round pick next year, which should be a third round pick, but typically if you're trading a future pick, it typically has to slide up around because there's more value.
That's silly.
So I think both first rounders this year, maybe a third. Maybe.
No, you're right.
I think they can get it done.
I'll tell you what. And New England might do that just to tease with, because the Cardinals got to be wanting Marvin Harrison, right?
So that,
Don't
yeah,
they?
I
They
mean,
have to.
that's the word, because let's look at this. So let's look at the depth chart there for Arizona, because there's just not much there. Don't forget, Rondell Moore is gone.
Where'd he
He's
go?
not-
Rondell, I didn't even know he.
Yeah, he's gone. Your number 1 is Michael Wilson. Your number 2 is Greg Dortch, and your number 3 is Chris Moore.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a need for it there, right? So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but Arizona has also said that they're multiple pieces away. But their asking price to move up for Marvin Harrison Jr. is as much for a team wanting to move up to the number 1 or 2 for a quarterback, and rightfully so.
Arizona Cardinals want their Fitzgerald. They had a Fitzgerald for 15 years. They want another one. Right?
So, by
Am
the
I
way,
right on this?
Yeah.
They want their Fitzgerald. I mean,
They do.
Think about how long that. They want a guy like that that's going to be a lifer.
And they could.
It
By the way,
says it already.
we just figured out who the kick returner for Atlanta is going to be. It's not going to be Darnell Mooney. It's going to be Rondell Moore. He's with the Falcons.
Rondell Moore. Yeah.
Yep. I thought he went to the NFC South. My first guess would have been the Saints.
It's going to be tough to play receiver with Mooney as your number 3. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Rondell being number 4.
And if you really want to talk about it, if you want to talk about just weaponry, you got Drake London, number 1, Kyle Pitts, number 2, Bijan Robinson, number 3.
Algier.
And you got Algier, who was a 1,000-yard running back. So, yeah.
You got London on one side. Who do you have on the other side?
I would probably go ahead and put Mooney out there.
Oh, okay.
And then run Pitts in the slot. I mean, that's a huge slot receiver.
Oh, I thought they had another receiver. They lost Mac at the my laptop. Though.
Well, I can help you out. All right, so if you look at Atlanta,
That's true. They had Mac and London. They had somebody else too. Did they? Or am I just...
no, I think you're right. You're not just smoking.
Who's going to be their number 2?
So on the depth chart for Atlanta right now, you got Drake London number 1, Darnell Mooney number 2, Rondell Moore number 3. You got Kaderil Hodge, Ray McLeod, Austin Mack. Yeah.
Okay. So he is going to be playing. He'll get.
And that Moore pickup might be really good with those kickoff rules.
Yeah, he'll be a big deal. He'll be a big deal.
So
Maybe use Algier or Algier as one of the return. I don't know. Him and Mooney, or him and like you said, Rondell.
Yep. So I think the Patriots trade out of number 3
Yeah.
with Minnesota.
I'm with you.
It's the best fit there. I think Arizona stays put at number 4.
That's assuming they want who's there. You think they're going J.J. McCarthy?
That's the word. But again, I said, at the very beginning of this video, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors this time of year, a lot of misdirection. Will Levis was supposed to be the first quarterback off the board, and he falls to the second round, right? A couple years ago, Geno Smith, well, more than a couple now, but
Yeah,
Geno
that's
Smith.
a lot more than a couple. He's like our age.
But, Geno Smith was supposed to be first or second overall, and the Jets ended up taking him with the second round pick instead. So, there's so much misinformation, and I think teams are responsible for planting this out there. You got to stir the coals a little bit.
I grew up watching Drew Brees, and to me, he is the guy that I like think of when I think of like just an elite college quarterback. So elite, right?
Oh yeah.
And I watched a few Oregon games this year,
Bo Nix.
and I swear he reminded me of Drew Brees, the way he made decisions and the way he spread the ball out to everybody, and he was so smooth with it. And I just thought that people have taken it now, but I thought right away. I was like, Sean Payton. Sean Payton, Denver, Bo Nix.
It's a good fit. Yeah. And the thing is, I don't think a lot of teams are going to have to trade up to get a quarterback. I think Denver can stay put. Don't forget Spencer Rattler is out there. He's probably a second or third rounder. But if you're one of those teams that
I wouldn't touch Spencer Rattler.
I'm just saying though.
Spencer Rattler?
Yeah. Yeah, started at Oklahoma, wound up at South Carolina, right?
Yeah, had a losing record at South Carolina.
Just
That's
saying.
the guy? Spencer Rattler? That's
just-
who you would think of?
Did you hear what I said? If you're in a team that needs a quarterback and you don't want to spend a first early round pick on it, I think you can get a guy like that in the third round.
I bet you could.
So,
You could probably get him as a free agent after the draft.
oh, stop it. You're so full of it.
No, he's good. He made quite a few million.
Yeah,
But he was the Heisman hopeful and then got
Yeah.
benched. But he did get benched for Caleb Williams.
He did, yeah. He was in
I'm
Oklahoma.
not dogging on him. I'm not dogging on him. I don't have anything personal against him.
I just
Spencer Rattler?
just hope that Caleb Williams is the man. Not here in the first round. I'm just saying some of these teams may not be reaching like we think. There's so much smoke and mirrors right now.
I'm with you.
You know, I've seen mock drafts that have quarterbacks going with the first 5 picks with all these trades. That's crazy.
I'm with you.
We've never seen that. I don't think it's going to be quarterback unless New England trades out of that 3 spot.
Boy, you better be real special if you're going to skip over Marvin Harrison Jr. Tell you what, man, that is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I think Malik Neighbors is an absolute dog too.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Xavier Worthy?
Yeah. We got to set the record out of
Yeah.
Texas.
I watched his film. The guy is a freak. Not only is he, I mean, he's fast, but he's not fast. He's a receiver.
Okay, so that makes all the difference. Otherwise,
He's not
it's
just
a
like
John Ross.
he's not just a John. No, that guy is a receiver.
Okay.
He is incredibly talented.
See, this
Now
is
he's really light though too. He's only about 60, about 70.
But you know, the thing is, like guys like Tyreek Hill are built like that, and
I would say more like
right.
Deshaun.
Okay,
Jackson.
more like a Deshaun. But still,
Yeah, he's
and
only
imagine
like
putting him back
a
there for
world-class-
pickoffs in his rookie
yeah.
year,
I mean, he's only a world-class sprinter,
right?
and had an unbelievable career.
Yeah,
The Xavier Worthy though,
yeah, I know
he's
the name.
scary.
Know the name. So I think the Patriots are going to trade out and try to accumulate more picks. I think Arizona's going to go Marvin Harrison Jr. All this talk about Harrison Jr. falling in the draft. Again,
They're really saying that.
a lot of people are saying because he chose not to participate in anything.
He doesn't need to.
He's already proven everything
He's
he
already
needs to prove.
proved.
So I see Arizona taking him. The Chargers. So this is interesting. The Chargers need a wide receiver, but the word is that this year's draft is so deep at wide receiver that what Harbaugh wants to do is address the trenches because he's a very
That's
physical,
what he does. That's what he
very
always does.
physical head coach,
Yeah.
right? So this is where you could see a Joe Alt,
Mhm.
or you know, if he's not your favorite tackle, or you know, you can go a different direction if you want.
Might be a Michigan guy.
Well,
But
yeah,
He's got cats everywhere. I mean, he
right.
knows them.
He knows these guys. But the rumor is that the Chargers are going to stay put and not trade this pick, and they're going to take an offensive lineman
Yeah.
over a wide receiver
Yeah.
because you can get guys like Worthy later in the first round if you want to trade back into it, or there's still going to be guys that are going to be available in the second round that most years would have been talked about as a first rounder, but it's just so deep this year.
Aren't both those guys on? Go to the Chargers. Aren't those both TCU guys?
Well, I know Quentin
Johnston
Johnson
and
is
Darius. Isn't Darius? Is he still there?
Darius. I don't think he's still there.
He was the.
So we've got Darius Davis.
Click
Yeah,
on him.
you're right. He is.
They're both TCU.
He's a TCU guy.
They're both freak athletes too.
Yeah,
A lot of-
Palmer is number 1, Johnson's number 2, Darius Davis is number 3.
Yeah.
The problem is they only have 4 wide receivers on their roster right
They
now.
didn't.
Right.
But what's the name? Harbaugh doesn't care.
No,
What tight ends they have?
Disley, Hayden Hurst, Parham, they've got 3 solid tight ends. 3 solid
Disley,
tight ends.
Hurst, and who?
Donald Parham.
Yeah, the
So-
tall guy. Did you see how tall?
He's a beast.
6'9"? Is he
He's a
6'9"?
beast of a guy.
He's 6'8"
So-
or 6'9".
Yeah, he's 6'8".
Yeah, like a real 6'8".
Yeah, only 237 pounds.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you'd expect him to be like.
He's a red zone guy.
But they can't stop him.
Yeah, because he's like a basketball
You
player.
remember where he came out of school?
Parham,
I'll be
a trick
impressed.
question.
I'll be impressed if you get this.
Give me a conference. Well, you just looked at him.
Well, of course I have to look at it.
Was he a basketball player? Or you don't know? What
NFL.
What conference?
Pioneer?
Pioneer. Oh my gosh. Southern Illinois.
What if I give you? All right, let's do this. I will give you the team's nickname. They're the Hatters.
Oh, the Mad Hatters? The Pioneer, the Hatters. I know the Hatters.
This is awesome.
Oh.
It'll be like Jeopardy. I'm giving you 5 more seconds.
Wait! Don't say it! Don't say it! Don't say it! Stetson.
You got it. Stetson's finest.
Yeah, they're the the Hatters.
Yep.
I was not gonna. You didn't give me that, did you?
No.
Okay.
Nope. All right. So moving on. So I do think the
I know that from
Chargers.
basketball, by the way, the Pioneer.
I do think the Chargers are going to skip on the wide receiver right here. I know Malik Neighbors is there. I know Roman Dunze is there. That just doesn't feel like a Harbaugh pick. Trenches.
What year and what pick?
5th.
Okay.
At the 5th. I think if
he
you
might trade back.
and he could, but who's going to trade up? So rumor has
some
it.
dogs there.
Well, the rumor has it that the Bears and Chargers are currently working on a trade
That the Bears
because the
want to move
Bears
up?
either want Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors
Oh. As their number
3.
Well, he ain't gonna be, yeah.
And the reason they want them as the number 3 is because they have not yet worked out Keenan Allen's extension,
Oh wow.
but they want to make sure that the rookie quarterback is going to be given an opportunity in Chicago that no rookie quarterback in Chicago has had.
I don't know if Harrison's gonna be there at 5. You know what I mean?
I do.
You do know?
No, I don't believe you.
Well, I mean, one of the two.
But
will
one
be
of the
there.
two will be.
But who's the third one you said from
Roman
Washington?
Dunze.
I don't know.
So,
Dunze's 100%. I'm not on a Dunze
okay.
bandwagon versus Neighbors and
And Harrison.
Harrison to me are two
Completely
they're-
different dogs.
Yeah.
Yep. So the rumor has it that the Bears have actually talked to them about possibly trading into this. I have no idea what the compensation would be. Obviously, it would have to be the number 9,
Yeah.
which would make sense. The only concern that has been raised in all this talk is right after the Chargers, you have the New York Giants and the Tennessee Titans who need offensive line help really bad, especially the Titans.
Yeah. so it might
That
not be
maybe the Chargers want to stay in there just so they can have their pick of the offensive lineman they want, because by the time it gets back to them, 2 more teams that are going to be needy at that position will have picked. Now, if you're the Giants,
they need everything.
that's the problem. If
They
I
need a receiver for sure.
If I was the Giants and Harrison Jr. and
So that's why they're not going to pick a quarterback.
so I don't.
Because they need.
I think they will, but it's just not going to be here
Yeah, I got you.
because you're going to want to build a team.
Yeah.
So I think this is where maybe like a Roman Dunze would go to New York and they would skip the offensive line, but Tennessee won't. Now, looking at Harbaugh though, Joe Alt
Do you
may
think
be.
Tennessee's going to get a receiver?
No, I think Tennessee's going to go offensive line.
Yeah, I do too.
I think New York Giants are going to go wide receiver.
Yes.
Okay, so the Chargers may want to stay there. I mean, the Giants can use offensive line help. I just don't think they're going to do it this year
Mhm.
or at this spot. They may trade back into the late first round.
Mhm.
They may stay in the second round again because there's going to be good offensive linemen there.
Oh yeah. You can
So-
get linemen all throughout though.
Right. So I think the only way that the Chargers will trade this pick to the Bears is if they are sure that there's 2 offensive linemen that they're equally high on. Now you got the giant tackle out of Alabama,
Yeah.
and you've got Joe Alt out of Notre Dame.
Yep.
And it could be that Harbaugh would be fine with either one of them, in which case he would be fine knowing that he's probably going to grab. Because I do think Atlanta at number 8 is going to go with an edge rusher. They've addressed the offense. They don't need more offensive help. Their offensive line is above average. What they need is a little bit more pass rush.
Is there a super high-end pass rusher?
There's a couple.
Or would they move back?
There's a couple. There's like literally, it
The
sounds
guy
like
from
there's two.
the Polynesian guy from no, it's an O-lineman. He's an O-lineman.
He's an O-lineman. You're thinking
What?
of
Yeah,
Sorry,
the guy from USC.
Fatu or whatever.
Yeah, the guy from USC is a stud.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, I could see that happening. I could see that trade happening, but again, in order for the Bears to get that pick, you're gonna be either Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors, because I really think Arizona's gonna take one of them. I really do. The only way I can see that happening is if Harbaugh is convinced that going back to 9, that the guy that he wants is going to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Well, I tell you
we'll
what,
see.
if the Bears do that and they get a Marvin Harrison Jr. and Caleb,
You're gonna feel pretty good. Even if
that
they got
reminds
Caleb
that'd be
Malik.
like the Texans last year, getting Will Anderson
Yeah.
and
And CJ Stroud.
C.J. Stroud. I mean, Will Anderson's a dog right away, day one.
Well, he
Will
won't
Anderson.
Isn't it funny? Houston wins, makes it to the playoffs, wins their playoff game, and they got the offensive rookie of the year and the defensive
he
rookie.
did
of the year.
get
He got the
defense, okay.
defensive rookie of the year. They got
Yeah.
them both, and that was a bold move. Boy, did it pay off!
Boy,
And that's why I don't mind being bold.
and Will Anderson was kind of like a no-brainer for a lot of people.
Well, sure.
People still don't know what his upside is, but his,
Yep.
I mean, he's a stud day one.
Now, throwing another monkey wrench
Oh,
into this, there has been some talk in number 6 that the Giants would probably go with the wide receiver.
yeah.
But also possible, although less likely, is Brock Bowers. Same thing.
Yeah. What?
It's the
What's
same
his name? Waller. Waller. They don't know if he's going to retire or not.
Well, he's already said he's coming back.
Oh,
Can
he
you
is?
trust him to be on the field? I don't think so.
They need so many things. I don't know. That seems high to take a tight end, but like
Yeah.
it should be like a. Like you need to lock up a lot of things before that. You know what I mean? But Bowers might be. I mean, they have a history.
Yeah.
The Giants have a history of having good tight ends.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going Mark Bavaro.
yeah, there you go. You're going, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going way back.
There you go. But I will say also that, having said that, if they do end up drafting a quarterback, even if it's next year, having that good tight end that's a great pass catcher like that would
absolutely.
be huge. But
If it's a guy that's going to be there, and like you said, if it's a generational talent, it's worth getting.
and all signs are pointing to that being the case. Like he's a stud. So, all right.
I mean, when you draft a guy in those first, 10 picks, that you need to get a guy that's going to be a he's going to be a Pro Bowler for multiple years. Marvin Harrison Jr. If he stays healthy, he has the ability to become a Julio Jones. He's that level of a player. You can't say that about many other guys. A lot of those quarterbacks are hit or miss.
Right. And the history would say that that's absolutely correct. There's actually been more busts than there's been hits. All right, so we were talking about some of those other guys. Dallas Turner's probably the best edge, although there's another guy that everybody's really high
Dallas
on.
Turner from
He's from Bama.
Bama. Okay.
Yep. You got J.C. Latham. He's that giant offensive tackle, 6'6", 342 pounds. But lad,
Yeah, you're gonna say his name. You're gonna try to say the name.
I've heard it a million times and I can't say it. The kid out of USCLA, Latu.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. Some people think he's the best. Some people think Dallas Turner's the best. Some people think Joe Alt's the best.
Well, you know what? They might be all Pro Bowl level tackles,
right.
or they're too slow a foot on the left side. They can't play the right side, and then you move them into the interior. Which
guard.
one? You need the guy that's going to be a left tackle, right? Those are all left tackle, or at worst, he's a right tackle. Right? There's only 30 left tackles in the entire NFL.
Right. So that Latham guy from Bama, I heard his hand size is like 11 inches. He doesn't have hands, he has freaking mitts.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But it's it's about the feet, footwork.
It is, right.
You know.
But that's where if Harbaugh is going to be willing to trade out of that spot, he's got to be convinced that either Latham or Alt or both are going to be there or be fine with one or the other. Because I really think Tennessee's going to go offensive line. I think they have to.
And to be honest with you, if it's a generational interior lineman, that's also allowed.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get a Quinn Nelson, who's a first team All Pro, now there's not many of those ever.
So who's
Quinn
this,
Nelson was a first team All Pro for the first 3.
And I remember when the Colts took him and the Bears took Roquan with the very next pick.
Yeah.
I actually wanted Quentin. And I remember, Adam was kind of like, well, why would you want to guard over, like, well, you don't typically draft an inside linebacker or a guard, but these guys are studs.
Yeah, those guys are
difference makers.
I think Roquan has almost the most tackles of anybody in the NFL at the moment. So.
And he's sideline to sideline.
Yeah.
He's got it all.
Yeah.
This Troy Fatanu out of Washington, he's a guard, right? A lot of people have him ranked pretty high, and he's a guard.
Fatanu.
Yeah. Fatanu?
I don't know him, but he's a guard.
Yeah, he's a guard. But,
Yeah, those guys are
really high on
graders,
him.
He's probably just massive and strong as an ox.
And the thing is, would it surprise you in a Harbaugh run first offense
No, not
if
at
you
all.
wanted to have that? Just like Quentin Nelson, if you want to have that super athletic guard that can pull and get out on the edge and
Quinn
hit that block.
Nelson, the Indianapolis Colts were like the worst offensive line. They drafted Quinn Nelson, and he shored up like their line.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually incredible. If you remember from one year to the next when they drafted, it's like, wait, a guard can, he connects you between your tackle and your center.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that entire side of the line became like a Pro Bowl level line.
Well, and then you look at it, and everybody's talking about how defensive tackles that can penetrate or be, Aaron Donald
Oh, yeah.
changed the game.
He sure did.
He changed the way that we look at defensive tackles.
Yeah.
And what they can do. Those guards are becoming more valuable because, they want to collapse those pockets. You don't want to,
Yeah, you don't just go around the outside. You want to push in.
you want to push in too. So that's becoming more important. So all right, let's just do this.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to be bold. All right, Chicago Bears number 1, Caleb Williams. Washington Commanders number 2, Jaden Daniels. Okay, New England trades out of number 3 with Minnesota. I think the J.J. McCarthy talk is premature. I think it's Drake May.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, who?
For the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
Yep. So the Patriots trade out. They're both the number 1 picks from this year, and I don't know. It's probably going to take a 3rd draft pick. It's not going to be a first rounder. I've heard people say that based upon the score, in order to go from outside the top 10 into the top 3, it's going to cost 2 first rounders and a 2nd rounder. If it is, it won't be this year. It'll be a future 2nd rounder.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the compensation. Just for this mock purpose.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Patriots are out.
Patriots would be more than willing to
Yeah,
take that
because
money.
they need more players. One player is not going to solve
course,
it,
yeah.
right? So they're out. Drake May gets drafted here, so we do have quarterback, and it is the 3 that we think it is, right?
Yeah.
Arizona takes Marvin Harrison Jr.
Mm-hmm.
at number 4.
Yeah.
Bears trade with the Chargers to number 5 because Harbaugh has a plan, and I'm sure both of those tackles are going to be great. He may want the guard, I don't know. You're not going to draft the guard inside the top 5. You're just not.
Yeah.
So Bears trade in, take Malik Neighbors. Okay. Number 6, the Giants. I don't believe I believe the Roman Dunze talk because they need a wide receiver. And
The Giants?
The Giants. So I got
And
Roman
they would be
Dunze.
dumb enough to pick him that early.
I've got Roman Dunze going to the Giants. I've got Tennessee taking. I don't even care if it's Latham or Alt. I don't care. Either one. I'll just say offensive tackle. They've already got Peter Skronce guard last
Yeah.
year. I think they're going to go tackle. Pick whichever one you want. Don't care, right? Number 8, I think Dallas Turner is going to
For
go
what team?
Atlanta.
Dallas Turner is the
Edge out of
edge.
Alabama. Yep. So I think Atlanta at number 8 is going to take the edge out of
Okay.
Alabama. And I think at number 9, which is now the Chargers pick, they're going to take whichever offensive tackle that Tennessee did not. And I think they're going to be fine either way. Whether it's Alt or Latham, I think they're going to be fine. We'll just say offensive tackle.
What have the Bears given up to move up that?
It's not a huge move up. It's only 4 spots.
Yeah, but
so they're giving up the 9, and they're giving up the 2nd round pick that we got from Carolina next year. I prefer we give up our own because I think we're going to be better. Carolina's going to struggle. It's going to take a 1st and a 2nd. Now, which 2nd? We'd prefer to give up our own, not Carolina's.
Yeah.
It's going to take a 1st and 2nd. We're not talking about the Bears and the Eagles trading one spot, swapping spots.
So really, it's only the 2nd. It's only a 2nd pick, the 2nd round pick of the next year to move up 4 spots.
Well, plus the 9.
Well, yeah,
So
9.
we're swapping the picks, and we're the only extra that we would have to give up.
Yeah.
And I think that's worth it to get Malik Neighbors. Even if it's Carolina's, which should be an early 2nd round pick next year.
Where you think the Vikings will have to give up 2 1st round picks in a 2nd to move up?
Because you're going in the top 3. Remember, it goes on that sliding scale.
That's silly.
big. That's the way it works. The
That's
GMs talk
silly.
about this.
That's silly.
We'll see.
I bet it is.
All right, number 10, the Jets. What do you think they do? They're in a win now
Certainly not a
mode.
quarterback.
I'm thinking Brock Bowers.
Yeah, could be.
You know, and a lot of talk says.
I'm with you on that.
A lot of talk says.
I bet they're gonna ask.
I bet they're gonna pick somebody's brain, huh?
Yeah, but they're gonna pick somebody's brain and see, hey, which one of these guys you like? Who are you thinking? Hey, they might move up and get. They might move up. I mean, Garrett Wilson in Neighbors or Garrett Wilson and Marvin Harrison. They might be depending on who is allowed to make those trades. They might be trying to go all in and be like, hey,
Well, they have to. Or
well,
they're
yeah,
out of a job.
like, yeah, but it depends on if they're allowed to. You know what I mean? Could you imagine Garrett Wilson and Marvin Harrison?
Could I imagine it?
I mean,
the
could
two,
you?
the 2 Ohio State boys running
Yeah.
out
Could you
there
see how
together?
scary that? Could you believe how scary that?
They're pretty terrifying.
I would not. And they know each other. They're not that far apart in age. You don't know what Garrett Wilson's saying. Like, hey, that is the guy. Like, that might be interesting.
It could be, but I don't think they have that kind of authority.
You don't think the Jets
Because
do with Woody?
I think with the moves that they've already made, it's okay, you're winning now, but we're not going to let you do to our team what Ryan Pace did to the Bears.
But getting Marvin Harrison Jr.
I just don't see it.
ain't gonna happen. With you think the Patriots or not Patriots? You think Cardinals are gonna?
Well, I don't think the Patriots would be dumb enough to trade in division, so it'd have to be Arizona, right?
And Arizona's not gonna trade out of that because they're gonna want to get.
They're going to want to get him.
They're gonna want to get
Yeah.
their next fits.
I think the price tag to move up to get him. Number one, the Patriots will never trade that to an in-division team, and I cannot see Arizona getting off of that. As much as that's the talk, I think the J.J. McCarthy talk is smoke and mirrors. I think, Arizona trading out of number 4. I think that's crap. I think they're going to want their receiver. I mean, some people
I agree.
Some people are saying they're going to take Malik Neighbors over Marvin Harrison. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
But they're going to go wide receiver there. They're going.
I tell you what. Yeah, Malik Neighbors is stuck, but
And then I really think the Bears will make that push with the Chargers because the needs are different. We've already
What are they
revamped
gonna go for?
wide receiver.
Receiver.
I still think wide receiver. I know the talk has been that the Bears are actually wanting to trade out of number 9. The problem is though, is as you move further and further back in the first round, the less you get for trading back. Right?
Yeah.
It's the number 1 overall pick on that scale that I keep talking about. I'm not the one that created it.
Yeah, I'm with
I'm
you.
just talking about.
I'm with you. I mean, look at what
it's
they
worth-
gave up last year.
Yeah,
It's
it's
ridiculous.
ridiculous. So much more than even the number 5,
It's silly.
which is worth still so much more than even the number 9.
Yeah. It's
Right. So you look at the Bears trade that we did last year with the Eagles, when you got was it Jalen Carter sitting there, and we just weren't sure with all the
Yeah.
outfield.
Yeah, and there were issues.
All we did was swap 9 to 10. Oh, we're in the 9th spot again right now, right? All we did is swap 9 and 10, and the only thing extra we got out of it was the 4th round pick.
Oh, okay.
So again, it matters how many spots you're moving up,
Yeah.
right? And it matters where that's at. Even moving up,
And you
from-
can get a starter in the 4th round.
Absolutely, you can. For sure, you can. And where would we be without that pick this year? Now, here's one thing I want to talk about real quick, and then we got to get this wrapped up. I just want to kind of brag a little bit on Ryan Poles, the current Bears GM. There was an interview that was done, and I thought it was really insightful and needs to be talked about. And the whole crux of the conversation is this year's draft class, outside of the first 3 rounds, is going to be relatively weak compared to drafts in the past. And the reason for that is we're getting to that 5th COVID year, those 5th years, those extra years that those players were given, and they now have NIL money. Okay, so these guys that would have entered the draft, that would have been 3rd or 4th round picks, maybe a 5th round pick, would have gotten drafted, are now saying, hey, I'm going to stay in college and see if I can't improve my draft stock even more.
Yeah.
Because I can still get paid now while I'm in college.
Yeah.
The incentive used to be you wanted to get out of college into the pros as quick as you can just to start getting that paycheck because you weren't getting paid.
Yeah.
Now with that extra option, that extra year that they get because of COVID, they can stay in college and they can try to improve that draft stock and get paid in the meantime. So I thought that was really insightful. And basically what he said was, I'm not so worried about trading back over and over and over again to acquire picks this year because this year's draft is not the typical draft. When we're analyzing the guys that are entering the draft, there's going to be guys this year that get drafted that would not have been in a regular year.
Interesting.
These are guys that, maybe would have had a chance to sign as a free agent after the draft, come to camp, see if you can earn your way on.
Interesting.
So it is really cool for those guys because those guys are going to get drafted who would not have otherwise been drafted.
So they're saying it's going to be a weak draft.
Exactly. A weak draft once you get outside of the 3rd or 4th round. Now, they're not saying that the first 3 or 4 rounds are going to be weak. That's not what they're saying at all.
Yeah.
But what they are saying is
of it.
the chance of finding a starter in the 4th round and later is less this year than most years because of the 5th year COVID option and the NIL money that these guys are able to earn. These guys are choosing to stay an extra year to try to improve their draft stock. I thought it was really kind of interesting. Don't know the truth to it because again, I'm not an analyst.
No, I
I'm
got
not a
you.
GM.
So guys are staying back in college for an extra year.
And the whole reason this conversation came up is he was asked, are you okay with the fact that the Bears don't have very many picks? And he said, yeah, because the picks that we do have are money picks. And this year's draft is weak for the reasons that I just told you. Not my idea. I'm not the one that came up with that. I'm just regurgitating. But I just thought that was really insightful.
Any chance he might be talking his own book?
Possibly. Always a chance.
Yeah.
Just thought it was interesting.
Hopefully they win.
But if
Hopefully
you're-
they get some good. Hopefully every pick they get is a starter.
I agree. And the reason that I believe him, though, is because if you're a team like the Bears that doesn't have many picks, why would you be doing anything that might damage your ability to trade back and get more?
Well, they've done a great job with that trade from the Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
They've done a great job with those picks they've gotten from that.
Absolutely.
Well,
Well, if you,
Keenan Allen's one of them.
right. And if you think about this, Justin Fields would still be the quarterback of the Chicago Bears if they had not made that trade. Because if they had not made that trade, we would only be drafting at 9. We would not have the first overall pick. And they would not be trading or getting rid of Justin Fields for a Penix or a
Why
Nix.
would they? Why say that again? How?
This is Innovative Mechanics Snap Type Bottle. A bottle redesigned to fill with vibrant,
It's all good.
long-lasting, fresh flavor. Mechanics Snap Type Bottles.
Cool
Keep
stuff.
flavor fresh and more delicious.
If the Bears had not made that trade with the Carolina Panthers,
Yes.
we would not have the first overall pick this year.
Yes.
The only pick we'd have in the first round is number 9.
Yes.
At number 9, I do not believe there's any quarterbacks available in this year's draft that the Bears would have been willing to take over Justin Fields.
I got you.
I think the only reason that Justin Fields became, I don't want to say expendable.
Well, you could argue that the Bears would have been much worse because
Oh,
they got a
absolutely.
starting corner out of it. They got
Right.
DJ. They
got
got
DJ.
more. I mean, they've gotten a lot of guys
Right.
already from that. So
that
you
that
could
trade-
argue that number 9 would be a lot lower.
Sure, probably
It was
5.
a great drive. It was a
4.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great trade.
So when you look at that, if Caleb Williams ends up being the guy,
Mm-hmm.
the number one, then that trade goes so much further beyond just the DJ
Oh,
Moore.
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
They're able to build a lot of guys around the Bears, around him too.
yeah, looking back in hindsight, this is either going to be the greatest trade in the Chicago Bears history, or we're going to look back at this and be like, what a blown and missed opportunity.
Yep. I'm with you
So-
100%.
We'll see. Hopefully he's the guy. I want my team to kill it this year. I want to be talking about the Bears in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Playoffs?
Playoffs.
I want to be talking about the playoffs. All right, go down in the comment section and let us know who you think we got right on this mock / whatever. Who you think we got wrong. Let us know what kind of trades you make. We're only going to kind of do the top 10. There's a lot of uncertainty outside of that. But yeah, go down in the comment section. Let us know what you think. This one's going to be pretty raw, Joe. Not a whole lot of editing because with the draft's right around the corner, we just don't have time for an hour-long video. So let's just hope that our quality is there. Let's hope the audience appreciates this.
Holy
Let's
smokes. Yeah.
hope that we weren't talking out our ass and
Put that at 0.25. 1.25.
sure,
Speed.
speed it up. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Enjoy the NFL draft. We're going to come back to you probably next week. I want to do some post-draft fantasy analysis. Don't know if Mr. JDP is going to be with me or if I'm going to be riding solo on that. If you watched the videos in the past, you know about my buddy Jason, who is a big college football fan. I reached out to him tonight. Said, hey man, we need to get together next week after the draft so you can tell me all about these guys because he follows that college game pretty intently. Like he is just all about it. So maybe he can give some insight that I can't offer. All right. Jason, calling you out, man. Let's get you back on the show. Joe, thanks a million, man.
All right.
All right, enjoy the draft. We'll see you guys next week.